All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the variety of methods we have for factoring quadratic trinomials. This time, 1c is a negative number, such as -9. When we're modeling with algebra tiles, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to begin by modeling the expression first. So we'll use 2 of the larger squares for x squared to represent our 2x squared, 3 green rectangles represent our plus 3x, and 9 red little squares or -1s to represent our -9. Then we're going to take our tiles that we have and we're going to arrange them in the shape of a rectangle. For this one, notice we will not have enough of our green rectangles to go on both sides. And also, if I do green rectangles on both sides, we would not end up with a number that we could multiply to get -9. And so for this one, what we're going to have to add are some 0 pairs. So we'll start off with, let's come over here and we're going to add in, we need 3 to fill in over here, 3 green. And then we also need 3 negative x's if we're going to add in 3 greens. To complete our rectangle. And so here I'll have 3 negative x's and we will have 3 green rectangles. And again, what we've added in are 0 pairs. So a positive x and a negative x bring no value to this expression. And so we essentially have an equivalent expression, but now we have enough x's to be able to factor out our dimensions or determine our dimensions. So here, when we go to look at the dimensions of our rectangle, again, we have an x here. So we have an x squared, which is x by x. And I've got another x here. So off to the top here, we've got 2x. And to the side here, we've got x. I know that these 3 little links right here, this is 1 by x, and so there we got 1, 1, and 1, or 3. And here we've got -1, 1, and 1, or -3. And so my factors here would be 2x minus 3 and x plus 3. The next method that we could use to help us with factoring this, since algebra tiles were a little messy there, would be to use our area model, and we could do guess and check. Guess and check for this one might be a little challenging, but we will make it work. So just like before, we will take our first and last terms and we will place them in the top left and bottom right hand corner. For 2x squared, we're looking for the 2 things that multiply to give us that. That would be 2x and x. For -9, I'm looking for numbers that multiply to 9, right? So that would be, could be 9 and 1, could be 3 and 3. And here we're guessing a combination. I'm going to start with 3 and 3 because I know that I have to also get the combination, the order right here. And so since 3 and 3 are the same number, I'm not going to have to switch those around. What I may have to switch around are where I put the negative, since one of these has to be negative. I'm going to put the negative down here with 2x minus 3, just because I think that might be correct. But if it's not, then I'll move it from here to here. 2x times 3 is going to give me 6x. That's what's going to go on the bottom right there. X times -3 is going to be -3x. And so then what we want to make sure is that our expression within the inside right here matches what we have over here when I simplify it. So here we've got 2x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 9. And so when we combine 6x and 3x, that gives us 3x. So we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. And so since this simplified back to my original, I know that my factors are going to be x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. So we end up with the same factors that we got when we used our algebra tiles. Again, if we want to use the area model but not have to guess and check, we can do that as well. And so for this one, we would begin by, again, placing 2x squared and minus 9 in the top left and bottom right hand corners. And then we would multiply a and c together. So 2 and 9, that would give us negative 18. We're going to look for two numbers that multiply to negative 18 but add to 3. And so as I'm looking for those, that would be 6 and 3 would need to be negative so that I end up with a positive 3. So again, that just tells me how to split up this middle term. So we're splitting that up into 6x and negative 3x. And that's what's going to go in these other two boxes. So instead of filling out the outside first, we're filling out the inside completely. And then we're going to look for our GCF. So our GCF for 2x squared and 6x would be 2x. Our GCF for negative 3x and negative 9 would be negative 3. Our GCF for 2x squared and negative 3x would be x. And then our GCF for 6x and negative 9 would be 3. And so again, here we end up with 2x minus 3 and x plus 3. So same factors that we had before, but there's no having to guess and check or redo any work. For our other methods, we've got grouping. For factor by grouping, we're still multiplying a and c together, so we're still doing that same thing that we did before. So we're still going to look at two numbers that multiply to negative 18, so have a product of a and c, but add to give us 3, our middle term. Again, that's going to be 6 and negative 3. As we learned just a second ago, we know that 6x and negative 3x are how we can rewrite this middle term here. And instead of putting them in a box, we are going to rewrite this as a polynomial with 4 terms. So that'll be 2x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 9. And then we will group first two terms together, second two terms together, pull out our GCF. So our GCF for 2x squared and 6x would be 2x. That's going to leave me with x plus 3. And when we factor out here, that's going to give us, we can factor out a negative 3. And that's going to leave me with x plus 3. And so we end up with the same thing on the inside, which is what we wanted. We're going to take our two factors that are outside the parentheses and group them together. That's going to be 2x minus 3. And then we're going to rewrite, it's a different color. We're going to rewrite these two binomials that are the same as just 1. So we're going to condense those down into 1. That'll be x plus 3. And so here are, again, our factors if we do factor by grouping. Our final method is slide and divide. For slide and divide, we're going to begin by sliding the 2 over to the 9. So we're going to multiply that. That's going to give us x squared plus 3x minus 18. So we're removing the 2 from the beginning, we're sliding it off to the end, and we're rewriting it as a trinomial that has no coefficient in front of, or that has a coefficient of 1 in front of the first term. Then we're going to factor that. So we're going to factor x squared plus 3x minus 18. That's going to be x plus or minus something, x plus or minus something. One will have to be plus, one will have to be minus. We need two numbers that multiply to 18, and so that would be, we've got 2 and 9, 18 and 1, 6 and 3, but we also need those two numbers to be able to combine to give us 3x. That would be 6 and 3. 6 would be positive, 3 would be negative, so that we end up with a positive 3. And so then we would undo our sliding that we did in the beginning by dividing. So we multiplied by 2 in the beginning. Now we need to go back and undo that by dividing by 2 at the end. So x plus 6 divided by 2, that would be x plus 3. X minus 3 divided by 2, that would just be x minus 3 over 2. And then for that x minus 3 over 2, we do not want a fraction in our factor, and so we would rewrite this. In order to rewrite it, we would multiply by the denominator. So 2 times x would be 2x. 2 times 3 over 2 would just be minus 3. And so our factors end up being x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. Again, regardless of what method you choose, you should end up with the same factors every single time. Last method is slide and divide. So for slide and divide, we are going to start by sliding. Oops. We're going to start by sliding. So we're going to multiply 2 and 9. That's going to give us 18. 2x squared plus 3. Oops. Nope. Okay, we're going to multiply. That's going to be 2 times 9, which is 18. Our final method is sliding. I'm just going to cut it. Go back.